Good luck, Emma.
Thank you, you too.
Hello. 30 seconds. Mira, la pusiste en lente, lo lente. Vamos, yeah. ¿Qué pasa, Martín? 10 seconds. Dale, papi. Coge el cloche, dale.
Hey guys, so I'm finally getting around to posting the race footage from a couple weeks ago. So this race took place at Punta Gorda. We've raced at this property before, and the first couple of miles is mostly quad trail. But before I sat down to do this talk through, I asked Jake if he would want to sit down and kind of critique my riding. I think that would be pretty fun to watch. But he said he didn't want to roast me. So he had a lot of input on this week's race. So I'm going to sit down and I'll kind of talk you through what I was thinking throughout the race and where I made my passes and what I think that I could definitely improve on. Right off the bat, I have already passed one of my opponents. I just kept thinking in my head Jake's tip about taking a different line. If you're not taking a different line than your opponent, there's no way you're going to be able to pass them. So I just kept thinking that in my head, and big send on that jump. Usually my wheels don't come off the ground. I don't like jumping. It's a security thing. I don't feel comfortable, so I try not to do it. You're seeing me go through this ditch. This property is notorious for ditches, and if you're really good, you're able to jump some of them. But if you're like me, you want to stay on the safe side. So I just rolled through every ditch. To me, it's not worth getting hurt. Quite a bit of people actually got hurt at this property, my dad included. My dad ended up breaking his collarbone and his leg. Luckily, it wasn't in the ditches. It was in one of the open field sections, but the fields are pretty slippery too. So there's a lot of elements that play out in these races, and you really do have to be careful, and you have to stay on your toes and constantly think what you're going to do next. I'm not posting the whole GoPro because I just don't like posting the whole GoPro. I think it's very repetitive. I'll always just post my first lap. Anyway, going through this ditch right here on the third lap, I went up the ditch and I ended up hitting my head against the handlebars. And there was a photographer right across from me, and I'm thinking to myself oh no, I'm gonna hit him. He got out of the way and I somehow saved it. That was such a squid move, but yeah, thought I'd share that. That right there was a pretty good line to take. Obviously, Emma went to the right, I went to the left, and I was right behind her. But then she's fast, so she gets away from me. Emma in my, you know, direct field of view. So I'm pretty pumped about that. And Jake told me that I should probably learn how to whistle so I can whistle at people to move over instead of yelling. It's a little bit nicer, I guess. Not that you could hear the police. I made a very dumb mistake of stalling my bike. Fortunately, it started right up, which was nice, but there wasn't even like a big root on the ground or anything like that. So really, just a dumb mistake. Mention that I don't have anybody pushing me at this point. It's a bummer. I don't like riding by myself. You know, if I can't see the person in front of me, that kind of sucks. And there was not really anyone behind me, so that also sucks at that point. saw Emma make a mistake. I don't know what happened there, but I went to the right of her. I should have stopped and asked if she was okay, but I saw that she was, you know, up, so I assumed that she was okay. Yeah. So you guys see my bike smoking, it's because we just went through a water crossing, obviously, and I decided to get off my bike and walk alongside of it, because sometimes for me it's just easier to get off the bike, walk alongside of it if I'm not sure that I can make it up the obstacle. And I didn't want to risk falling over because I'm kind of short, and I knew that it would take a lot of time. I didn't know how far back the other girls were behind me, so that's just something I don't mind doing / know the risk of doing that. It's gonna cause me time, but in the end, it's better than me falling over in the mud or in the water and flooding up the bike. So. Where we started heading into the palmetto sections. I also actually stalled my bike here. I don't have a recluse clutch in my bike, and sometimes it's actually pretty hard to put it into neutral. I think it's a pretty common problem with these like stock Yamaha clutches. Jake has a similar issue with his 19 as well. But I love the palmettos. Palmettos are my jam. And it's a lot of fun. And here, I also decided to follow the other two riders that are in front of me, and I kind of got lost. So note to self, don't follow other riders. As you can probably tell, I hate the fields. I'm not very good in the fields because I'm afraid of going faster. And one of the things that Jake pointed out to me is my line selection. He was telling me to try to go like inside versus outside, not what I'm doing here. I'm like going all the way to the side versus, you know, just going around the corner and going straight. So that's something that I can definitely work on and improve. And this is also when I noticed that my check engine light came on. myself on the back for taking the other line. But you guys saw, you know, I tried to yell, hoping that the guy in front of Emma would hear a girl's voice and he'd move over, but sometimes it's really frustrating when these people don't move to the side when they know that you're not in their class. So sometimes I feel like maybe if I do yell, they'll hear a girl and they'll be like, oh, she's not in my class, I'll scoot over. But other times these guys just like keep going and they don't really care. So you guys could definitely tell that both Emma and I were getting a little frustrated at that point. Jake, I decided to cheer back because that's how I hype myself up. But when I went through the chicane, I realized I was leading, which was really awesome. I had never led in the Woman A class before, and that was like a little personal victory for myself. I had such a good time racing with Emma. It's always way more fun when you're riding with somebody else versus riding by yourself the whole time. Lap 2 didn't go as planned. I stalled my bike, and I'll insert a video of that too. And I couldn't get my bike to start, unfortunately. So I'll do a whole nother video on that and that mechanical issue of the bike. But all in all, such a fun ride and fun race. I unfortunately went from leading the race to finishing, fourth, I think, yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Fuck.